Okay, thank you all for joining us today for our SEG Signs Made Simple Banner Up Segdesign presentation. Rick will be joining us to present his solution with some of the Ultraflex products. If you could please take a second to, in the chat, I added a link to a form, just so that way we know who attended today. If you could just fill out your name for us, that would be really helpful. If you have any questions, please feel free to use the chat as well, and then Rick and I can answer any questions you may have either during the presentation, or there'll be plenty of time at the end as well. So I'm going to turn it over to Rick, and we'll get going with today. So I hope you enjoy, and I hope you learn something.
All right, thank you very much, Kylie, and thanks everybody who's attending the meeting. Looking at the email list, I see some friends, old and new, in the list, and so glad to be with you again. And for those whom I haven't met, look forward to hopefully meeting you in the future. Feel free, as Kylie said, to shoot over questions anytime. It can be about our product. If you have general questions about SEG signs in general, we'll certainly share anything we can about our product, about competitive products or other solutions, about the market, any kind of questions you have. We just want to help inform you today. So, so we'll get started with that. My name is Rick Hatton. I'm a business development manager in the sign and graphics market for Budnick Converting, and there's my contact information. I'll also have that at the end. And let's talk quickly about what we'll go over today. So I'll give you a quick overview of banner ups. I know there are some people in the meeting that may not be familiar with our flagship products, so just a slide or two on that to let you know kind of where we cut our teeth. And then a quick primer on SEG, Silicone Edge Graphics. Again, many of you will be familiar with the product line, but in case anyone's starting from scratch, we'll go ahead and do a quick overview. You have to talk a little bit about print equipment and textile media in order to really understand SEG signs. So we'll do a quick overview of that, and we'll talk about how things are currently being done in the SEG sign market, and then we'll introduce our product, Segdesign frames and Ketter tape, and just kind of share what we think is different and better about those. Talk a little bit about who are the typical kinds of customers that buy the product, and then tools we have to get you going. So for those of you who don't know us or haven't heard of us before, I hope there's you've at least heard of us. But Banner Ups is basically an easy finishing system for banners that involves adhesive tabs and tapes instead of grommets and welding or sewing hems. It's just an easier, faster, stronger method than grommeting, and it's a labor savings. So it's a lot faster, stronger, and it saves a lot of labor. So the product's been in the market for a long time, and basically, people hate grommeting. It's kind of a pain, and then they oftentimes will rip out. So we came up with the product, and it basically spreads the load over a much bigger area. So that's kind of where we live. Much stronger. Products have been wind tunnel tested. It's been in the market for 25 years, over 25 years. We've sold, I think, over 70 million tabs. If you lined up all the tabs and tape we've sold in that time, would go from Wellington, Ohio, where I am, to Wellington, New Zealand. So really, the product's been tested and it works. Really, our distributors are the key to that. So we have great distributor network, and we work very strongly with them. So. But you came today to find out more about the SEG market. So let's just look at a quick primer on what that is. So basically, SEG stands for Silicone Edge Graphics, and that is a sign system for hanging textile print media in public spaces. First thing, it consists of a slotted aluminum frame, and as you can see there, and then you have a printed graphic, and that printed graphic receives a silicone edge, Ketter or Keter, it's sometimes called, you see in the picture, which is like a gasket that gets typically sewn around the edge. And then that gasket sewn in is then tucked into that slot all the way around the edge, and that's how you tension the face into it. So the reason people use these is because they look great. Fabrics just give a extremely rich and high-end look. They're also very low gloss, low reflectivity, so that you don't have issues with ambient lighting reflecting off of the image. They just have a high-end look. Also, they're easily changeable. So once the frame is installed, it's very easy to swap out the graphic. And that's important because obviously our market is filled with promotional things, time-sensitive things, rollouts. And so really even a store manager with not a lot of training, if particularly on a smaller size, can swap out an SEG. Oops, sorry, I forgot to silence my phone. That's bad. But let me just turn that off. My apologies, folks. Can install it. So the changeability is great. Also, less expensive to ship. When you compare it to rigid signs that might be 4 foot by 8 foot, extremely expensive to ship those across country. A SEG printed graphic and textile can be folded up, sent in an envelope, and now it can be shipped to 50 or 100 locations immediately. Again, because they're so easy to install, don't necessarily need to rely on professional installers even to get around to all those locations. So it's great for national rollouts and having a crisp timeline on which to do that. So again, we have to talk a little bit about printing equipment and textiles in order to understand how the whole system works together. So in terms of wide format printing technology, and most of you, this is old hat, you know this stuff, probably the old standard at this point is solvent or eco-solvent wide format digital printing equipment. And, that's great for a variety of different surfaces, but you do need to have some special type of media for that if you want to print on textiles. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. UV, also, again, that's probably the next step. UV is great because it's fast drying or fast curing and gives good color and those kinds of things. From the standpoint of printing for SEG, there are some drawbacks because UV is a very hard coating. It's not a very flexible coating. So it tends to kind of give a stiff boardiness to the textile. And then also, it's not going to be quite as durable when it gets folded and unfolded and those kind of things. It can sometimes tend to crack. So the third technology, of course, would be dye sublimation. And dye sublimation is really, from a durability standpoint, the gold standard of printing on textiles. Reason is because that dye that's printed on paper or directly on the fabric and then is fused into the actual fibers. So it's really permanent. It gives brilliant, bright colors. The downside is that you need to have not only a printing machine, but you also need to have a heat press or a heat calendar that is going to fix the colors into the fabric. So a little higher bar for entry into that market. And then kind of like the grand compromise is the latex machine, which of course HP has brought out, and there are some others who are coming out with machines like that. And latex is, the advantage of latex is it prints in a good color, great looking graphics, and such a wide variety of materials, including textiles, and can be printed very durable. So the other thing, of course, with the HP being kind of like the 800-pound gorilla in the market, they've done a great job of getting that product out there. So that's probably the most one of the most accessible all-around products in terms of printing equipment to go into this market. Let's talk a little bit about textiles. So when you talk about overall textiles for wide format printing, you have vinyl banner media. So everybody's probably familiar with that. And that can be printed eco-solvent, UV, latex. However, it's really not suitable for SEG because it's basically a little bit too stiff and boardy for that. So that's not really an option for SEG. When you want to get into that, you've got some options. The basic level would be a polyester fabric, typically a woven polyester that's coated. It's got an impermeable coating, like a liquid flood coat on it, that makes it particularly well suited to accept eco-solvent and also latex ink sets on it. And so that's an option for that. The next level up, I would say, would be uncoated products. So in other words, they may have surface treatments on them, but they don't have a solid coating on them. So that means that in order to print those and to get really good colors, you're kind of at the next level of expertise in terms of understanding print profiles and really working with that. Again, I say knitted and woven textiles. The difference in a woven textile, gosh, I'm trying to think of, you might think of like your blue jean material or you know, a flag material or something. It's woven, it doesn't have a lot of stretch to it, okay? Knitted materials tend to have a little bit more give and stretch to them, which can be very helpful for installation and getting a nice, tight, clear installation. Real quickly, want to talk about Ultraflex's program. Again, we appreciate Ultraflex giving me the opportunity to present. And Ultraflex, we work with all of the major manufacturers of textiles, but I have to say, Ultraflex is really just terrific. I think the best at the overall program for their textiles. They have a very wide selection of them and a great network of distributors and sales reps, so that as you're if you happen to be a distributor, you already know that. If you're a customer that's interested in getting into it, they can help you greatly with that. And they have a terrific sample program. So at ultraflex.com, you can simply log on, pick the fabric that you want, and you'll get a sample, not just a little sample swatch, but you'll actually get a roll that you can work with and practice with a little bit to get you going. So that's basically it. Now, when we look at Ultraflex's products for SEG, they basically have three sort of main product categories. One of them is going to be what they call the S line, and that's coated product for eco-solvent and latex. And then they have the D line, which is the more advanced. That's going to be for dye sublimation, UV, and latex, because it's uncoated. So again, that's why we say advanced. You're going to need a little bit more knowledge of printing profiles. And then the T line, which is specifically for dye sub transfer. The good folks at Ultraflex will be able to tell you a great deal more about those. So let's just talk about the current state of the art in the SEG market. So basically the way the product line, it's been in the market for probably 10 or 12 or 15 years. And it consists of, as we mentioned, a metal aluminum typically frame that is cut at a mitered corner. So if you look in that upper right corner, you see a 45-degree angle cut, and then you see some hardware that's used to fasten it together. That's great. It's worked well, but there's some drawbacks to it. One is that the aluminum frame, of course, you can't just cut that easily, right? You have to have specialized equipment, so it's very difficult to stock that product, right? So they pretty much have to be cut more or less on demand, and most distributors don't have that. So graphic shops have been slow to adopt this in terms of actually being able to put these together themselves. And distributors have had a hard time stocking. I mean, how are you ever going to guess what a customer is going to want? If you stock 2 feet, they're going to want 2 feet and 3/4 inches, right? So that's kind of inhibited the growth of the market. So they've tended to be made by specialized manufacturers, so pretty large places. And those that specialize in this, they may be importing or buying the frame directly from the manufacturers, maybe even the same with the textiles. And they tend to sell both the frames and also do printing. So, so that means if you are a distributor or you're a print shop yourself, these folks can be a supplier to you. You can buy essentially just pass it through, buy the completed product and resell it for a smaller markup. But they can also be your competitors, because a lot of times they will be selling direct to the advertisers. And that's where our Segdesign product comes in. So what is the Segdesign system? Well, it begins with a product called Ketter tape. So Ketter tape is a pressure sensitive adhesive peel and stick Ketter that goes around the edge. You remember before we said that typically has to be sewn on. Well, this is peel and stick. So that means you don't need a sewing machine. So immediately that means that it opens it up potentially to anyone that has a wide format printer. You could do the frames, you may not do the frames, you maybe just be able to do prints for already installed frames. And if you've got Ketter tape, you can get into that market. As we said, there's print media for virtually any technology of printing. So that opens the market up quite a bit and makes it a lot easier. It's available in 3 sizes. We have typically in the most common is 14 millimeter wide by 3 millimeter thick. We also have a new version that's coming soon, which is going to be really revolutionary, we believe. It's literally 1/10 the weight of the current products out there, 1/10 the weight. It's also, instead of having adhesive on one side, it's going to have adhesive on both sides so that it can be easily folded over and held in place. And we're also looking at a sewable version of that with no adhesive. So we've got some really exciting products that are probably, we'll know more in about a month, but let us know if you're interested in that. So how is it better? Well, Segdesign is made of a real tough polymer, ABS, no aluminum. So it's not subject to the tariffs that come and go or international drama that happens from time to time. And it's made in the United States. So the supply chain is secure on it. It's a modular design. So instead of the mitered corner, what we're doing is we are molding the corners. So the corners are molded, and then we have a snap together system, long straight edges, the molded corners, and then a straight T connector. So with 3 pieces, then basically in a modular design, you can make virtually any size instantly, and it's very, very easy to cut. So again, how often do customers want a perfect exact size? Sometimes they need incremental sizes. Very easy to cut with any kind of a typical chop saw. You can even use a miter saw, $20 miter saw. Again, simple to buy, it's simple to source. It's available in pre-cut sizes. So we have pre-cut sets that are ready to go in 18 by 24, 24, 36, and 36 by 48 sizes. And then also it's available bulk. So the straight edges and sides and corners and T connectors can be bought in bulk containers. So on the side rails, those are available in bulk boxes at 15-inch, 21-inch, 33-inch, 45, and 93. So those sizes probably on the face of it look a little odd to you until you realize that the corner is 1.5 inches wide, right? So 2 corners on every length, you add 3 inches. So a 15 becomes an 18, then a 24, 3 foot, 4 foot, and 8 foot. So I hope that makes sense. And then we have all the needed accessories. We have a cleat, a French cleat that can be used to hang the frames on the wall. And then we have pull tabs. And the reason for that is that once a frame is mounted and it goes onto the wall and you install the graphic, you really can't get behind it to pull that graphic out. So typically those graphics have a little sewn in pull tab. Well, we have the same thing with an adhesive tab. So we've got all the things that are needed. So let's talk a little bit about the economics of Segdesign. So market price for a 2 foot by 3 foot Segdesign with a SEG sign with a print in it runs maybe in the $250 to $300 range. Total cost for a Segdesign frame would be about $60, and that would include the frame parts, the Ketter tape, and even the print. Okay, that includes the fabric and the print. So you're probably talking about a total all-in cost of $60. So that labor, 15 to 30 minutes, and again, that's pretty generous. Once you get good at it, you can do multiples at a time. It's easy to cut and easy to put together. So really, you can cut that way down. And so basically, the end use customer, the printer can resell at 5 times their material cost. So it's a good margin, and that includes buying those products at distributor pricing. So through a distributor. So it's very profitable product. So that's kind of it. I guess at this point, I'll just take a quick pause. See if there's any questions so far. I'm not seeing anything on the chat window, so I will continue on. I thought at this point we'd watch a movie, and I've got 2 things queued up. We could do Blade Runner, or we could do the Segdesign video. Kylie, do we have the ability to run that video?
We do. It should be popping up in a second.
All right.
SEG signs are exploding in the sign market, and now you can make them instantly in-house with no special tools or equipment. Bannerup's Segdesign modular SEG frames is a new revolutionary fabric signage system. The frames are non-aluminum and made of a tough ABS. Segdesign frames are 100% made in the USA and are modular, meaning with just a few basic pieces, you can create any size frame in minutes right in your own shop with no special tools or sewing. This is how it works. Print your fabric to fit the frame live area. Trim off any extra fabric. Apply Bannerup's Ketter tape. Just peel and stick, no sewing needed. Snap together the Segdesign frame. Tuck fabric into the frame. Screw or stick mounting cleats to the wall. Hang and center the Seg frame. Segdesign is easy to cut, so custom sizes are a breeze. Lower total cost than aluminum frames. Paintable with Krylon Fusion spray paint. Add color and profit to your design. Beautifully match the Seg frame with the fabric art. Why wait any longer to join the fast-growing SEG market? Try a Segdesign starter kit today. For more information or to find your nearest Segdesign distributor, visit bannerups.com/Segdesign.
So great. So just running through it, it's easy to use, no tools needed, easy and fast to make custom sizes. Made in the USA. And total lower cost than aluminum. A big part of this, lighter to ship, 30% lighter and less expensive to ship. Also, the parts can be broken down. You can design the sign in a way that it has only 4 foot or under sides, and so you can package it very compactly, and that makes a huge difference on the shipping cost for UPS. And then again, as was mentioned in the video, color, very easy to color. If you want to color a frame, if you want to color an aluminum frame, you pretty much have to powder coat that. That's a very expensive process, and it's going to take extra time. So it's either kind of, some people have it stocked in white and black, but if you really want to do anything special, it's almost cost prohibitive. With Segdesign, it's super easy because it'll spray paint with a simple Krylon Fusion spray paint or any plastic spray paint that you can get. And so for a $6 can of spray paint, you can add 50 or 100 bucks to the resale value because it just looks super. It's also been tested with Matthews, and according to Tim Lloyd over there, paints like a dream. No primer needed. And so, you can just see what can be done. You can match the image. You can match the customer's logo colors. You can match the environment, or if you want, you can do something really creative. So here was a 2-tone kind of a paint with blue and black that really matched the image nicely. So that's just a real special thing that you can't do with aluminum. So let me give you some tips and tricks. I mean, basically, we not only have the products, but we have all of the methods sort of laid out simply so that the printer can really just go on our website and get the tools needed. So the page there is bannerups.com/Segdesign. And on there, we have cut line templates, as you probably would realize. In order to have that face really look good and be nice and tight, it's very important what size you cut it to and trim it to so that it's just right. So what we've done is for a lot of standard sizes, we've already worked out the cut line templates, and then you can take and overlay our artwork right over the top of your graphic artwork, so you can print those cut lines right on there. It makes it very easy to get a starting point on how to size the face properly. In addition to, by the way, if you have a custom size, you would easily be able to, with your art staff, would be able to adjust the cut line template, but we can also design that for you if you just tell us what size you want, and we'll design a cut line template for it. So makes it very easy. We give how-to videos on every aspect of it. So how to cut it, how to assemble it, how to use the Ketter tape, how to paint it, how to mount it and put it together, how to package it for shipment. So we've got all of these tips worked out in our videos. So let's talk about who are the typical customers for this. Well, one is going to be medium to large digital print houses. So these are places who are doing retail interiors. They're doing large scale trade show displays. These folks are fairly sophisticated at design, fabrication, painting, etc. This is going to be kind of no challenge for them. They may already be doing it. So for them, they're going to tend to buy bulk cases. And these kind of customers can introduce Segdesign and its advantages to national advertisers. And then another market for it would be sign and graphic print shops, smaller places. They may not have the fabrication and the painting and that kind of thing, but they can still spray paint, but they're going to probably want a little bit more simplicity. So they tend to order the pre-cut sets initially. So these are the tools that we have to help you get going, help you get into this. We've got the video, which you can use to show your customers. We have a starter kit, and that consists of basically you get a couple of frames, an 18 by 24 and a 24 by 36. You also get a full spool of Ketter tape so that you're ready to go. And then we give you an 8 by 10 demo frame in that. So that you have something that you can show your customers. There's a print ready to go in there, but if you want, you can swap that out with your own print so that you've got something that you can hang or show customers, that kind of thing. And then again, plenty of literature. We also have a recommended media list. So as I mentioned before, we work with all of the major suppliers of media, and we have tested their fabric line, so we can tell you in advance what once you have for a given print technology, we've got a complete list there that you can look at and say, okay, here's the fabrics that we could potentially use for that, and then get in touch with the suppliers of it. So again, a part of that, and probably the biggest part of it, single component, is Ultraflex.
Rick, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you everyone for joining. I hope you found it informative and helpful. If you have any questions about the Ultraflex products that work with the Ketter tape and the Banner Ups design, please reach out directly to myself or anybody on the Ultraflex sales team. And please also reach out to Rick if you have any questions on their system and how to get a sample and how to use it. This presentation will be posted on our virtual trade show site, so you can feel free to share it with any of your colleagues or view it again if you want to review any of the information. So thank you so much for your time, everyone. Have a great day.
Thanks, everyone. Feel free to get in touch with me at my contact information, and stay safe.